And speaking of 340B, how could I not? It's like my hobby, my favorite topic, I suppose. I actually am going to make the call that I think 340B reform is actually on the horizon. I've been saying for years we need to reform this program. We might actually be there. It might actually happen. Just to remind you of how big the program is, what you're looking at is in the blue line, the growth of 340B at list prices, and the orange line is the growth of 340B at the discounted 340B price. So in 2023, the difference between those was about $58 billion. That makes 340B about 15 to 20% of the entire gross net bubble, gross net difference for manufacturers. And if you it's been growing at more than 20% per year every year for the last 10 years. And if you just roll those growth rates out, within a couple of years, the 340B program is going to be bigger than the Medicare Part D program. It's already bigger than the Medicaid drug program. It's going to be bigger than Medicare Part D. And as you know, this has been a program with very little guardrails, very little regulation. It's not even clear who's in charge of this program. I mean, technically, HRSA, which is part of Health and Human Services, is, but they don't do much and they don't have a lot of authority. So there's a lot of desire for reform, but it gets very tied up in the politics of fixing it. But I believe we are on the verge of actually fixing it. Now, in the meantime, I would say hospital growth in this program is going to accelerate in the next few years. As I pointed out, for many years, hospitals have been aggressively investing in being specialty pharmacies, partially in response to manufacturers' limitations in contract pharmacies, but partially because of the profit opportunity to not have to pay a third party to dispense these drugs, and realizing that they are themselves very vertically integrated, owning a significant number of pharmacies, physician practices, the prescriber, they can actually direct patients to their pharmacies. In fact, most hospitals, they won't advertise this, actually measure physicians based on the prescription capture rate. Can you get your patients to come to our pharmacy to get their drugs? There's a crazy number of laws happening now. Because there is no national laws about this, and Congress kind of didn't really finish the job in setting this program up, states have stepped in. There are now 8 states that have laws about manufacturer contract pharmacy networks. Just this week, the Supreme Court declined to hear a challenge to the Arkansas law, which means states are going to start exploding in their use of these laws. At the same time, there continues to be ongoing litigation about this. Manufacturers sued HRSA about their contract pharmacy statements. They've won 2 of those cases at the circuit court. One is still outstanding. If that's a split decision, it's going to the Supreme Court. If it's not a split decision, it gives the manufacturers even more power over that. And as I'll talk about in just a moment, the Inflation Reduction Act is going to force change in 340B. And one of the things you're going to start to see, it's starting now, but I think it's really going to accelerate in 2025, is commercial plans saying, what exactly is happening here? One of the comments I slipped in my Wicked-themed article a couple weeks ago about the 340B program is, imagine you're a plan and your PBM says, well, this is a 340B eligible claim, therefore there's no rebate on it. So the patient maybe pays $1,500 out of pocket in a coinsurance, and the plan pays another $5,000 for that drug. No rebate offset on that. And meanwhile, that drug was purchased by a hospital for a penny, and the hospital gave a PBM $1,000 to dispense it. Like, those kind of stories are going to start coming out more and more. I walked through that example in the video I put up on the rerun this week, but commercial plans are going to start to say, I want more transparency into where my money is going. Will the Congress step up? Bill Cassidy is going to be chair of the Senate Help Committee. He is someone who's asked for a lot more transparency in 340B, is very knowledgeable of the issue. He's a physician. John Thune, who's going to be the Senate Majority Leader, was one of the Gang of Six that created a 340B reform bill. Not a perfect one, in my opinion, but he clearly knows the issue. And just yesterday, Brett Guthrie is going to be the chair of the House Energy Commerce Committee. And he's someone who has supported legislation requiring more transparency and reform of 340B. So in the course of fixing things, this could be a big one. And I do believe that the Inflation Reduction Act is going to be a catalyst for changing 340B. I don't think that was ever intended, but it is going to happen. But if you want to think about government efficiency, HRSA is completely outmatched in this. They have become subject to regulatory capture. They are more sympathetic to the entities they're regulating than, let's say, the taxpayers or anybody else in the system. And given the fact that 340B now has an interaction with Medicaid and a significant interaction with Medicare that's only going to grow over time, if I'm looking for efficiency in the government, I would take 340B away from HRSA and move it into CMS. As it is right now, I interpret that there are some guidance differences between what CMS says and what HRSA says. Non-binding. Guidance is not binding. So this is going to be, I think, a pretty significant issue. And just to be clear, I've searched high and low. As best as I can tell, RFK Jr. has said nothing ever about 340B. If I'm wrong, please email me. But I can't find a single thing that he said. I don't even know if he knows what the program is. But he's going to have to adjudicate two parts of HHS who have very different views on what's going to happen with this program, combined with what Congress said they want manufacturers to do. So this, to me, is going to force Congress to, in some sense, have to address 340B, finally. So maybe this year, this might finally be the year, 2025. We'll see. I'll let you know next December.